What is the status of the performance of Indian states in the health outcomes? The answer to this question becomes more important after the COVID-19 pandemic. And to answer this question, NITI Aayog has recently released a very important report, that is the State Health Index. So my dear learners, a warm welcome to all of you in the today's daily current affairs session. And in the today's session, we are going to discuss the top PIB news from the month of December. And the today's top PIB news is the State Health Index. So now, when we talk about the State Health Index, as you can see from the headline itself that NITI Aayog has released the 4th edition of State Health Index. In year 2017, NITI Aayog, in collaboration with the World Bank and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, has initiated a work on the State Health Index. It wanted to make a comprehensive State Health Index which can be used to assess the performance of Indian states and union territories towards the health outcomes. And in the today's session, we are going to discuss that what exactly this State Health Index is all about and what is the framework which has been used to assess the performance of Indian states and union territories, and what are the important key rankings that are important from the exam point of view. So we are going to discuss all these things in our today's discussion. So let's move on to the topic. Let's get started. So here, first of all, let's see that what exactly is the title of the report which has been released by the State Health Index in the NITI Aayog, and that is the Healthy States Progressive India. So when we talk about the title of the report released by NITI Aayog was the Healthy States Progressive India. It is a report on the ranks of states and union territories, and it has been prepared by NITI Aayog in collaboration with the World Bank and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And my dear learners, when we talk about this health index, this is the round 4 of this health index which was started in year 2017. And when we talk about the year for which the performance of the Indian states and union territories have been analyzed, then the year, that is the reference year, was the 2019-2020. I hope that this is very much clear to all of you. And now let's discuss that what exactly this index is all about, what is the aim, objective, and what does it tell us. Okay, so when we talk about the aim, the NITI Aayog has come up with the State Health Index to make the Indian states and union territories to work towards building a robust health system and also to improve the service delivery in the health sector. And to analyze that, a common tool was required with the help of which we can track the progress on the health outcomes and the health system's performance, and to develop healthy competition so that the states and union territories can learn from each other. That is, for example, a state has performed better than another state. So the another state can just learn that what action was being taken by that particular state and how we can improve our service delivery, how we can improve our health infrastructure in order to improve our ranking and to provide better health facilities to the people. So my dear learners, when we talk about this particular index, this index tells us about the performance of the Indian states and union territories on 2 major areas. The first one is the incremental performance. That is, in this particular year, we are having a base year in relation to which the performance of the current reference year has been analyzed. And the second part is the overall performance. That means the performance in the current year. And my dear learners, there is a homework for all of you. That is, you are going to tell me that what are the different health related sustainable development goals. And this is the homework for you. Do tell me this in the comment section below. Now when we talk about the framework of the health index, see, the health index is a composite weighted score of 24 indicators. That is 24 indicators. And these 24 indicators have been comprised in 3 major domains, and these domains are the health outcome, governance and information, and key inputs and processes. Now, one more important point. In the previous round, so when we compare this particular part with the previous round, here you can see that 3 new indicators have been added in this 4th round of State Health Index, and these 3 new indicators are the maternal mortality ratio, the proportion of pregnant women who received 4 or more antenatal checkups, and the third one is the level of registration of deaths. So these are the 3 new indicators. And when we talk about the State Health Index, it divides the Indian states and union territories in 3 different categories. And what are these categories? These are the larger states, the smaller states, and the union territories. But there is one exception in this particular part, and the exception is that this index do not includes the West Bengal and Ladakh. And what was the reason? What was the reason of excluding this state and union territory? The reason was the unavailability of adequate data, and that was the reason that these particular 2 areas have been excluded from the State Health Index. That is the 4th round of the State Health Index. So I hope that this is very much clear. Now let's come to the important rankings. This is one of the most important part that you are required to remember from the exam point of view. So here we have already discussed that this health index gives us the performance, the incremental performance as well as the overall performance. So when we talk about the incremental performance, the base year used has been 2018-2019, and the reference year, that is the year for which the performance of Indian states and union territories have been analyzed, that reference year is 2019-2020. So do remember this part as well. And whenever we cover the rankings, whenever we cover the reports and indexes, we always tell you that you are required to remember the top performer and as well as the worst performer. So when we talk about the very first category, the first category is the smaller states. And when we talk about the top performer in the overall year index score, then it is very much clear from this particular part is that Mizoram was the top performer with the overall index score of 75.77. And when we talk about the worst performer, then the worst performer in this particular overall index score was Nagaland. So my dear learners, these are the 2 important points that you are required to remember from this part. And when we talk about the incremental change, for the incremental change, once again Mizoram has topped this particular index with the increased score of 18.45. that is the score of the Mizoram in the overall index score, then it has increased by 18.45 from the previous round. And when we talk about the worst performer in the incremental change, then it was Goa, whose score has reduced from 12.68 points. So I hope that this part is very much clear. Now let's move on to the next category of the states, that is the larger states. And when we talk about the larger states, then among the larger states, the worst performer was Uttar Pradesh with a score of 30.57. And when we talk about the top performer among the larger states in the overall reference year index score, then it was Kerala with a score of 82.20. And when we talk about the incremental change, then you must be shocked to see that Uttar Pradesh, which was the worst performer in the overall reference year index score, the Uttar Pradesh was the top performer in the incremental change as its score has increased by 5.52 points in the overall index score from the previous edition. And when we talk about the worst performer in the incremental change among the larger states, then this particular state was the Karnataka, whose score has reduced to 1.37 point. That is, its score has reduced by 1.37 from the previous edition. So that was the scenario from the larger states. The top performer was Kerala in the overall reference year index score, and the worst performer was Uttar Pradesh, while the Uttar Pradesh was also the top performer in the incremental change, and the worst performer was Karnataka. I hope that this is clear. Now moving towards the next category, that is the union territories. And when we talk about the union territories, the top performing union territory was Dadar and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu with a score of 66.19. And when we talk about the worst performer, then the worst performer among these union territories in the overall reference year index score was Andaman and Nicobar with a score of 44.74. And when we talk about the top performer in the incremental change among the union territories, then it was with the increased score of 9.68, that was Delhi. And when we talk about the worst performer in the incremental change, then that was with the reduction in the score of 10.85, that is Chandigarh. So Chandigarh was the worst performer among the union territories in terms of incremental change, while the top performer was Delhi. So I hope that these parts are really very much clear, and do remember the top performer and worst performer in all these categories because they are really very important from the exam point of view. Now, the change in the overall performance ranks. See, I'm not going to discuss this particular table in detail because it is very much self-explanatory. As it says, it just tells us about that there are 4 states from the larger states which have improved their ranks in this particular index, and there were 5 states whose rank has deteriorated from the previous edition of the index. And so the data regarding the smaller states and union territories have been mentioned here. You can go through them for the value addition. Now let's move on to some key points that are really very important from the exam point of view and you are required to remember. So this report also mentions that the gap in the overall performance between the best and the worst performing states. When we talk about the 2 categories, that is the larger state and the union territories, then this gap between the best performer and the worst performer has narrowed. But when we talk about the smaller states, then in the smaller states, this particular gap has widened, and this is really a cause of concern for the smaller states. And apart from that, this report also mentions that nearly half the states and union territories have not reached the halfway mark in the composite overall index score. And another important point that you are required to remember here, that Rajasthan was the state which was the weakest performer both in the terms of incremental change and the overall performance. So these are the points that you are really required to remember from the exam point of view, apart from the key rankings and the framework and the releasing body for this particular index. Okay, so I hope that this index is now very much clear to all of you. And now let's analyze that whether you have listened to the particular important part very carefully, and for that I am having a practice question for all of you. And this practice question, before answering the question, kindly read out that what exactly is the demand of this question. That is, in this question it is asking about the incorrect statement in relation with the state health index for year 2019-2020. And to answer this question, kindly read out these particular statements very carefully, analyze them as per our today's discussion, and then tell me in the comment section below that what exactly is the right answer to this question. And now here is a homework question before all of you, and here you are required to tell me the name of the state which has recently set up the State General Category Commission for the unreserved classes, whether it is Punjab, Kerala, Karnataka, Haryana or Tamil Nadu. Do answer the question in the comment section below. And now here is the googly question. So my dear learners, in the googly question, this googly question is being based on the Model Concession Agreement 2021 for the public-private partnerships at the major ports. And to answer this question, you are required to analyze these particular statements and then tell me that which one of the following statements are correct statement in relation with the Model Concession Agreement 2021 for the PPP projects at major ports. So I hope that this is very much clear. And now my dear learners, if you have still not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of these sessions. And to join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. Now, an important announcement for all of you that we are running a new year sale in which we are offering flat 50% off, and to avail this discount you are required to use the code new year. Okay, so do not forget to use this code new year to avail the discount of 50% off on the various courses. Now when we talk about the star performers of the previous session, I'm really sad and it's really unfortunate. Although I'm having a long list of the people who have answered the question, but none of you have answered the question correctly. That is when we talk about the homework question. The question was that what was the theme of the National Consumer Day 2021? And all of you have answered the question that it was tackling pollution. But the right answer to this question is the consumer know your rights. So this is the right answer. I don't know where you have read, but this snippet has been taken from the official website of the Department of Consumer Affairs. So if in the exam a question is being asked that what exactly is the theme of the National Consumer Day 2021, then the answer will be consumer know your rights. So I hope that this is very much clear, and do not worry about this. You are getting one more chance for this, as If you want to become the star performer of this session, then do answer the homework question in the comment section below, and I am going to give the names in the upcoming session. So my dear learners, that was all from the today's session. I really believe that today's session was useful and fruitful to all of you. And if you have liked the session, do give a thumbs up in the comment section below. And if you are having any queries, then drop us a mail at hello@edutap.co.in, and you can also call us at 814-620-7241. So thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.